Some monsters prefer the shadows, lurking there unseen, but others come screaming out of the darkness, carrying the apocalypse with them. One such monster is Fenrir, the terrifying wolf from Norse legend that was destined to end the entire pantheon of the old gods. Hi everyone, I'm your host, and today we will be counting down the top 5 most chilling truths about Fenrir, the wolf of the end times. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more episodes. Starting off our countdown at number 5. 5. Fenrir was the son of Loki and a giantess. While many of the monsters we cover on this channel are the creations of some dark and evil wizard or witch, Fenrir wasn't made, but born. Like other children of prophecy, he was fated to bring doom upon his father's kin. And Fenrir's parents were far from typical. His father was Loki, the trickster god, and his mother was a giantess named Angerborda. This union brought forth 3 monstrous children: Fenrir, a monstrous wolf; Jormungandr, a super serpent; and Hel, a terrifying dog. Now, while those kids sound scary enough on their own, they were also children of prophecy, bringing doom upon the whole Norse pantheon. Not exactly ideal children. But before we get to why the gods had to lock up their kids, let's take a look at the next entry on our list. Number 4. The gods raised him, then feared him. Now, despite being children of prophecy, it's not like Angerboda and Loki could raise their kids themselves. I mean, who would watch them? Angerboda passed the kids off to the gods, and their first home was Asgard, home of the Aesir, where Odin took one look at Fenrir and decided he was too much to handle. So he tossed him over to the Vanir, the fertility gods. There, Fenrir grew until he was an enormous wolf, so massive, in fact, that no chains could hold him. But how do you stop an enormous wolf? You call a meeting with all the gods and goddesses and figure out a plan, right? Well, not exactly. Most of them were terrified of Fenrir and didn't want anything to do with him. So they chained him up and gave him to the dwarves to hold him in chains. But even the dwarves couldn't keep him contained. So the gods turned to magic to finally hold back the great wolf. Number 3. No chain could hold him until they used magic. The gods may have been magical beings, but even they weren't prepared for the power of Fenrir. When they tried to hold him with normal means, they failed. But when they brought in magical chains, Fenrir actually seemed to enjoy it. Now, in most stories, if a monster likes something the heroes do, smiling, playing, or eating, then the hero has won. But that's not the case here. See, when the gods put the magical bonds on him, he snarled and snapped and vowed vengeance against his father and the entire pantheon of gods, and he kept that promise. Let's move on to the next entry on our list to find out how. Number 2. His howl will signal the start of Ragnarok. Fenrir wasn't just a monster, he was a harbinger of doom, and when Ragnarok arrived, he played his part well. You see, Ragnarok is the end of the world in Norse legend, the battle where the old gods die and the new gods are born. It's a battle where good triumphs over evil, except sometimes the lines between good and evil aren't always clear. For instance, Odin, god of wisdom and magic, is also the father of Fenrir. And when Fenrir comes for his revenge, Odin is going to die at his son's jaws. But Odin has already foreseen his fate, and he knows Fenrir's death is also foretold. So before the final battle arrives, Odin hides his son Thor's hammer in the depths of the ocean and makes a final stand against the forces of chaos. And he does everything he can to buy time until Thor can grow up and reclaim his birthright. And in most accounts, Thor has to wait a long time because Odin gets killed early on in Ragnarok. And when the All-Father dies, Fenrir howls. That's right. When Odin dies, Fenrir howls, signaling the start of Ragnarok. And the first person he kills is Odin's son Vali, the embodiment of courage and strength. But Vali isn't the only god that Fenrir will kill. Let's count down to number 1 to find out who else is on the menu. Number 1, it's foretold he will kill Odin and be killed by Odin's son. Yeah, Odin's dead, but that doesn't mean he isn't planning for the future. See, when Fenrir kills his father, he becomes the new lord of the underworld. But his rule doesn't last long. You see, Odin's other son, Thor, the god of thunder, is destined to kill Fenrir as well. And when Thor arrives in the underworld, he has a simple task: kill the monstrous wolf. But Thor needs a way to get to his cousin, and he doesn't have much time. You see, while Thor is fighting Fenrir, the whole earth is quaking, the mountains are splitting apart, and the seas are flooding the land. And in the end, Thor delivers a killing blow to the great wolf, but he doesn't finish the job. You see, after Fenrir is slain, he transforms into a man and reveals himself to be none other than Skoll, Odin's son, Vali, who Odin had saved from Fenrir before he died, and Thor lets him live. So now we have our happy ending, right? Well, not exactly. See, when Skoll came to Thor as a supplicant, he asked for 3 things. First, he wanted land where no one would ever harm him. Second, he wanted Thor's belt of strength. And third, he wanted Thor's hammer. And when Thor says no to all 3 requests, Skell pulls out a knife and cuts off the hands and feet of the god of thunder, leaving him helpless. And with Thor defeated, Skell rules over the land. And that's where our happy ending stops, because Skoll rules like a god, which is bad news for mortals, but great news for us. Why? Because this means Skoll is our next monster. That's right. Next week, we'll be counting down the top 5 most chilling truths about Skell, the god who cut off Thor's hands. And if you want to help us produce these videos, make sure you check out our support page to become a patron today. And as a reward for sticking with us until the end of the episode, here's a fun little tidbit about Fenrir. Did you know that one of the main characters in the movie The Big Short was named after him? Thanks for watching. I've been your host, and if you want to haunt yourself silly, join us next time for more terrifying tales and spine-chilling stories.